according to me, if you're a lifter or even if you're just a fitness conscious individual, the thing that's much more important than your regime and supplement intake is your protein intake. Any fitness conscious person will tell you how boring boiled eggs and boiled chicken are. They're just ugh. And that's why in today's video, I'm giving you my top 3 points in making all that healthy protein tasty protein. Tip number 1, herbs or whatever you want to call it really. The fact is that they change food completely, in my opinion. Now, Indians have this theory that herbs and other international ingredients are actually super expensive. But you need to keep in mind that India's changed in the last 10 years. Things like thyme, rosemary, tarragon, which were expensive 10 years back, are actually relatively cheap now. If you go onto one of those grocery portals online, you'll see that these herbs have actually become super value for money ingredients. A big bag of thyme, about 250 grams of thyme, which is about like this big, will come for around 200 bucks. And that 200 bucks will actually last you about 2 years if you play the game right. Now, if you buy a big bag of herbs, they'll rot within like a week. So to preserve them, you just need to roast them. You need to just dry them out a bit so that there's no moisture left. So to roast them, you just take a bunch the way I've shown here and you roast it in a wok on a super slow flame for about 15 minutes. Your house is going to start smelling amazing. And in the end, you're left with these dry herbs that you can actually pull off the stalk and just keep in your fridge. And in your fridge, these will last about 2 years. Herbs like thyme, rosemary, tarragon, basil, oregano just change your cooking entirely. They make everything taste European. Now, I know European's a very broad term, but from my own experience, for the Indian palate, European flavors come from these herbs. Trust me, you can make 5-star level food in your house with these simple ingredients. So make sure you go and get yourself some herbs. Tip number 2, Indian spices. Now, I'm from Mumbai and we're a metropolitan city. And I've seen that so many people in this city, especially the younger people, kind of look down on Indian food. They think Indian food is really outdated and boring. Anywhere you go in the world, you'll see that people love Indian food. Everyone loves Indian food except for the Indians. Indians are more impressed by continental things like herbs, which are awesome. But keep in mind, according to me, Indian food is where it's at. Just because Indian food is all around us, we tend to take it for granted. But trust me, as an amateur home chef, there's no cooking that's as complex, detailed, and delicious as Indian cooking. There's just so much you can do with all the flavors, all the masalas. You can absolutely change the flavor of anything you're cooking and still make it healthy if you adopt Indian cooking. So for any beginner, anyone who doesn't know anything about cooking, I recommend you start with Indian cooking, especially if you're Indian. You can just do so much with it. From my own experience, Indian cooking and a healthy lifestyle are a match made in heaven. You'll never have a boring meal again and everything will taste awesome. Tip number 3, meat tenderizers. Now, if you're a vegetarian, this is a great time to switch over to my vegetarian recipes playlist. But if you're a non-vegetarian, let's get back to business. Now, if you're a beginner to the cooking process and if you've tried cooking something like chicken breast, something super lean, you'll see that it's really difficult to get the perfect chicken breast. It always turns out overcooked or undercooked. The solution to your woes are meat tenderizers. And the king of all meat tenderizers is the raw papaya. Now, to use a raw papaya, all you need to do is you need to cut it into slits and just place those slits in your marinade. Those slits start releasing an enzyme which actually breaks down the protein in the chicken. And eventually, after you cook the chicken breast, even if you overcook it, it's super soft and super juicy. What's even better about raw papayas is that they add no flavor to the meat. They're a completely neutral flavor and they're super cheap. One raw papaya will come for about 10 Indian rupees, which will actually tenderize about 15 or 16 chicken breasts. So it's super value for money. Now, if you don't have access to raw papayas or if you just have something against raw papayas, there are other tenderizers out there. So you can use a pineapple, which will also do a really great job, but then it adds a bit of that pineapple-y flavor. You can use onion juice, which does a good job, not as great as pineapple or raw papaya, but it adds a very oniony flavor. And the third and fourth are vinegar and lemon juice, both of which add minimal flavor, but then they're nothing compared to the raw papaya. Trust me, if you're a beginner to the cooking process, you need to start using raw papaya in your marinades. Hey guys, so that was the slightly different video for today, but I hope you guys liked it. Now, if you want to go and check out my healthy non-veg and veg recipes, make sure you click on that card. If you want to follow my personal fitness journey, follow me on these handles and make sure you like my Facebook page as well. Until next time guys, from BeerBiceps, see you.